San Antonio, Texas is celebrating its 250th birthday with an international exposition, Hemisphere 68. 32 foreign countries with pavilions, restaurants, amusements, and exhibits are helping San Antonio congratulate itself on its growth and progress. There's a sky ride, a monorail, and of course the usual 600-foot tower with the revolving restaurant on top. Texas Governor John Connolly says Hemisphere has turned the downtown area from slum to jewel box. But the jewels don't glitter very brightly on the other side of town, where 400,000 Mexican Americans live, half the city's population. Most of them are crowded into what city officials refer to as poverty tracts. Mexican Americans face a language barrier, and like most poor people, they suffer from lack of skills and unemployment. A hard time earning means a hard time eating. A quarter of San Antonio's Mexican Americans, 100,000 people, are hungry all the time. CBS News correspondent David Culhane found out how hungry from a woman with 6 children and an unemployed husband.
Do you have any food in the house now?
No, sir, I haven't got anything.
What do you tell your children when they come home and there is no food?
That we haven't got anything to eat, and we just have to lay down like that until the next day, see if we can find something to eat.
That's it?
Yes, sir. We just come and drink some water and go to bed.
Father Ralph Ruiz, a Catholic priest, lives and works with the poorest of San Antonio's Mexican Americans. He is a missionary among his own people. Father Ruiz gives out food as often as he does communion. Prayer, Father Ruiz knows, is not what a man wants when his stomach is empty.
Many people expect to see hunger in the faces of children or of other people. Hunger is felt. And when you begin to see hunger in the faces of people, it is because they no longer feel that hunger. I've asked them, are you hungry? How are you doing? No, Father, we're doing fine. What did you have to eat? I asked them. We had beans and tortillas. When? This morning. And this afternoon, we had beans and tortillas. And what are you going to eat tonight? Beans and tortillas. I am a Mexican American myself, and I love beans and tortillas and chili. But I also love meat, milk, cheese. And if anybody thinks that the poor eat tortillas and beans, and that alone because they love it, they are naive. Many times children get pennies, nickels, dimes, and the first thing they do is run to the store and buy junk like candies, potato chips, things like that. And we criticize them. Look at those kids running to the store and buying that junk. But these little fellas instinctively go and buy these sweets and so on because it will do away with their hunger. Señora, mire, ¿cómo está? Estamos solamente... For these people, my people, education is a luxury. The mind comes in second place when the stomach is empty. ¿Y tú?
Jerry.
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 ¿Vas a la escuela, Jerry?
Sí.
¿Hablas inglés?
Poquito.
Okay. What school do you go to?
Southside.
Southside. How far is school from here?
8.
8 what?
8 miles.
Is it a high school or junior high school?
Junior high.
Junior high. When you go to school there, do you take lunch with you?
No, sir.
And what do you eat at noon then?
Nothing.
Do they have a cafeteria there?
Yes, sir.
Do they know that you eat nothing at noon?
I guess not.
How much does lunch cost over there?
35.
Do you have 35 cents to buy your food with?
No, sir.
In the mornings when you go to school, do you always have breakfast here at home?
Yes, sir.
What do you have for breakfast here at home?
Beans.
Beans. What time do you quit school every day?
3:30.
Until 3:30. So from the morning till 3:30, you have nothing else to eat, huh?
No, sir.
Besides beans.
Yes.
How are you able to work in school and to study if you have nothing to eat at noon?
I don't know.
All these things to them are like a star, able to be seen, unable to be attained.
San Antonio's answer to hunger for the last 14 years has been surplus commodities.
You will receive 20
Surplus commodities are foods that farmers cannot sell and nobody else wants. The U.S. Department of Agriculture buys surplus crops from farmers and gets rid of them by giving them to the poor. For farmers and the government, commodities are a convenience. For the poor, they are simply an inadequate dole.
You'll receive
The program consists largely of dumping excesses rather than providing essentials. In April, for instance, the Department of Agriculture distributed 1,400,000 pounds of peanut butter.
2 pounds of peanut butter, 4 pounds
The program is not changed since it was conceived of in the 1930s.
of rice,
Commodities are still given to 3.5 million Americans in 1,272 counties. Commodities are most notable for the foods they do not include. There are no green vegetables, no eggs, no fresh meat, fresh milk, or fruit. No one claims that surplus commodities are anything but a diet supplement. But for all too many of those who receive them, commodities are the entire diet.
you'll receive
The poor are alive because they eat. They are malnourished because of what they eat. Hunger is never so devastating as in a child, never so horrifying as in what it may drive a child to do. Social worker Mary Garcia sees many such children.
Miss Garcia, why is this girl being detained?
She was picked up for soliciting for prostitution.
Well, how old is she?
She's 11.
11. Is this an unusual case?
Well, yes, unusual because of her age, but I do have quite a number of girls that are involved in it.
Why would a girl of this age go into prostitution?
Well, in talking to them, the reasons they give me is that they do it so they can get the money to buy food because they don't have any at home.
San Antonio has 4 county commissioners, and their opinions vary. A.J. Plow is the senior commissioner. He has served 5 successive terms for the last 18 years. David Culhane asked Commissioner Plow about the children in San Antonio who are not getting enough food.
Well, why are they not getting enough food? Because the father won't work. And I mean won't work. If they won't work, do you expect the taxpayer to raise all the kids because the daddies won't work? First, let's do something with the daddies, and then, yes, take care of the kids.
I wonder whether these children who are not getting a proper diet are going to be able to learn properly in school.
Well, what do you mean learn properly in school? Do you really need school other than, say, an 8th grade education? That's where another thing people keep talking about, this education, college education. It's not necessary.
And what do you do about the children who are not getting enough to eat?
Well, I don't know about that because that's really the problem of the father. Now, what to do about the man, I don't know. But you'll always have that condition, because if you don't have that condition, then you'll never have Indians and chiefs. And you've got to have Indians and chiefs.
Not sure I understand what you mean. You mean that you'll always have hunger?
Not necessarily. Yes, you'll always have it because some men just ain't worth a dime. And you'll always have hunger, yes.
San Antonio has 1 charity hospital, the Robert B. Greene. David Culhane talked with Mrs. Vera Burke, who is Director of Social Services at this hospital.
Mrs. Burke, how many of these people would you say are malnourished?
Well, I would say in one way or another, all of them are malnourished. And we see in this clinic 300 patients every day during the week, and about 200 every single day of the week in the emergency room. Many of our patients arrive here without having had breakfast. All of them we know have inadequate food budgets and inadequate diets. And one of the problems in treating patients with inadequate diets is that you have a prolonged period of recovery due to inadequate food intake and inadequate protein. Specifically, these patients eat a high starchy diet, which is not conducive to good, speedy recovery.